to make shit happen. Our guest today is Nancy Almodovar. Nancy, thank you so much for joining today on this virtual Zoom call with me. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for allowing our guest, our audience to get to know the real Nancy Almodovar. And thank you so much, Nancy. I live in Houston, and I've seen you emerge as a real estate this mogul, with Nan Properties, but people might not know who you are, and they might have seen these property signs, Nan Properties, around neighborhoods and everything. But I'm so grateful that you accepted my invitation to so people can get to know you. They know who you are. How did you build this company? Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. What, Nancy, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us who you are, and we want to know the whole you from the beginning of the time, from the time you were born to where you are today, what your goals are, what is important to you. So let's get into it, my friend.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and for being so patient on making it, a Zoom. I'm honored to have you as your guest, but real estate has been crazy here in Houston. So that is why we're doing a Zoom here, which is great, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
to get started about myself is I'm a Houstonian. I've been here my whole life. I was born in Chicago on accident, but I was raised in Cyprus, and it's Cyprus is not what it is today. And went to school there, and then I'm a first generation. My parents are from a city called Guanajuato in Mexico.
Mhm.
And we, then grew up there, went to high school in Cyprus, and then moved on to go to the University of Houston and have been here my whole life. Met my husband here. I've been married for 16 years now, have two children, 10 and 9. They're 13 months apart. They keep me very busy,
Oh.
and two dogs, a Maltese and a Frenchie. And, just love working and living and
So then
breathing
you went
real
to
estate.
since you grew up in Cyprus, you went to Cy Fair, Cy Falls. Where did
I
you
went
go?
to Sky Springs High School.
Oh, Cy Springs. Okay, perfect. So, and then of course you went to University of Houston. Go Cougs. Uh,
Yeah.
Nancy, so tell me, how did you get in this real estate? And
So
how did you become this Nan Properties that it is today?
the reason I got into real estate, it's actually a funny story because everybody kind of says when I grow up, I want to be, this. With me, it was just to kind of pay for school. And my dad was flipping properties at the time. He was flipping 50, $100,000 properties. And I was in college and I worked. And he said to me, "Oh, I'm sorry. What is that?"
Okay, no problem.
And again, real estate, it's busy, right? So I need to put my phone on do not disturb. There we go. And so
Your dad was flipping properties.
my dad was flipping properties, and he was like, "Why don't you just help me and get your real estate license and go ahead and pay for your school?" So I did and started doing that, and I just became addicted, from day one. I started with $30,000 houses, which people, they see me today and they're like, "Oh my God, she sells $1 million homes." Well, it wasn't always like that. I was selling $30,000 homes, then 100, then 150, then 200. And then that's where, I grew in my sales price. But my dad was my first client, who is not the easiest, right? Working with families, not always the easiest,
Yeah.
but definitely taught me a lot of lessons. I started my career with Century 21. I then moved to, after I was there, I kind of always have goals for myself and have a checklist. Okay, I'm going to sell $100,000 house. Check. I'm going to sell 3 million this year. Check. I was rookie of the year my first year in real estate. So, I mean, it was definitely my calling from day one.
Well, awesome. And I mean, today you're sitting in this nice office right there. And so tell me, when when did you? So you're at Century 21, and then you're going to school at the same time. What do you do next after that?
So I graduated, I got married, and I got married when I was 22
Okay.
at a very early age. My husband and I have been together since I was 19. We've always worked together. And then I realized, okay, what's next, right? I need to keep going. I want something bigger. So I know I needed to move my price point, and I wanted to sell higher end homes. So I searched, someone that was extremely successful, and I wanted, back then there was not a lot of Latin selling in the high end. This was, God, you're taking me down memory lane. 10 years ago, probably. Yeah, 10, 12 years ago, no more. A lot of years ago, let's
A
just
lot of
say.
years.
And, I joined this group, Uptown Real Estate Group, that's actually still around today. They're a small group, but I started off as her assistant. And when I went to go meet with her, I said, I want to work for you. And she said to me, I'm not hiring. And I convinced her to hire me. I said, I'll work for you for free for 6 months. And then after 6 months, if you feel like you don't need me, then no hard feelings, I'll move on. So after 6 months, I got her to hire me. I worked there for 6 months as her assistant. And then she's like, you know what? You're great. You've helped my business. I'll hire you. So then I was her assistant for about a year and a half. And after a year and a half, she asked me to be a part of the team because I was, she saw I was able to sell.
Mhm.
So I
So
started selling.
when you say assistant, like were you assisting selling her houses or
Yes.
like you were
So,
showing people?
right. So in real estate, there's a broker,
Uh-huh.
which I am now. There's a real estate agent, a real estate associate, and then there's an assistant. And the assistant, it's not that it's, a lower level, but it's just you help. Some agents have so much business that they need an assistant. And I always tell people when you get into real estate, that's the first thing you need to do is go be somebody's assistant. Because, you get your license, that's great, but you need to definitely have that experience under your belt before you can jump into this business. So that's what I did.
So now tell me, the assistant gotta have their real estate certificate or
Yes,
whatever
they have to have their
the
license.
license. I mean.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, and you recommend everybody to make sure they're an assistant to
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
someone who's a little more successful or someone who's a little more seasoned before you go. So that's what you did for 6 months. The lady joined, up. You said Uptown. What was the name?
Uptown Real Estate Group.
Uptown Real Estate Group. So
Yeah.
now you join her. What happens next?
I just start killing it.
Okay.
I like I said, I breathe, I sleep, and I eat real estate. And you definitely, to me, this isn't a job. I love what I do, and I've loved it from day one. I started doing open houses. I mean, it's a 24, in real estate, you can make as much money as you want to make, or
Uh-huh.
you can make as little as you want to make. So I was working so much because I was so excited about learning about the high end. I was visiting so many different buildings and just properties. I was exposed to, you know, uh, high end properties like I had never seen before. Remember I went from selling 200, $300,000 homes to now I was walking $3 million penthouses.
So
So
Nancy, I got to ask you this, and I know you are one of you're responsible as one of the person to who have kind of changed this real estate game. But you know, I feel like with the social media and with everything that has happened in the the society we live in, everybody wants to be now a real estate agent, right? And I mean, I see and they think they're just gonna be insta famous, and they'll just get over there and they'll make a couple of $100,000 a year. I mean, real estate is hard. I mean, it's difficult, right?
it is
And
very hard.
yeah, and I mean, but a lot of people think, well, hey, I'm not doing anything. I might as well just go do real estate, make some money. And sometimes people don't have the right mentoring, right guidance, and they get lost and they don't sell anything. They're like, oh, I don't know what I do. I mean, do you find that like people just come over there because they might see you on Instagram or they might see one of your other agents on social media and they're like, man, I want to do this. I want to be in that nice fancy building. I want to drive that nice fancy car. I mean, does that happen?
All the time. I get people messaging me all the time. I just want to be a realtor. And my first thing is why? Why? If they can tell me why, then we'll consider, letting them join the team. Or, I mean, there's different requirements, obviously, to join our team, but it's why. And if you can't tell me why, if your answer is, oh, because I want to see nice houses, or I want to be on your Instagram, or I want to be part of the Nan fam, that's not enough. Like, you have to have a passion for this industry. It's very, like you mentioned, it's very easy to get lost. But that's the easy part, to get lost. How about getting sued? A lot of people don't realize that if you don't know contracts, if you don't know the process, if you don't do what you're supposed to, you can get sued. And then there goes your license. But, a lot of individuals don't realize that. And they think, oh, I'm going to go to school, get my license, and then get on my Instagram and say, hey, I'm a realtor, I can help you. It does not work like that. I had a client today call me and say, hey, listen, I my brother is a realtor, but I need help buying $1 million home, and I'm reaching out to you guys because I know you guys are the experts, and this is the one of the biggest investments I've ever made. So I'm not just going to trust my brother who's been licensed for 2 months.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to have that credibility under your belt and that experience, and be able to provide that service to your clients. And then, to all of the people that are listening that think, oh, I see her on Instagram, or I see this other agent on Instagram and they make it look so fabulous. They don't get to see me sweating my makeup off at 5 o'clock, or, breaking out in hives because I'm stressed out about making sure that my clients don't lose this deal and that the sellers don't get, upset with me. Like, they don't see all that. I talk about it a lot on my Instagram, but I think it's easy for people to forget because it's not what they want to, to see. Like, they want to see just the glitz and the glam of it.
Yeah. So tell us, walk us back, and I'm going to come back to this. A couple of other things. So how did you're working for this company now? What made you want to be from a real estate agent or a realtor to saying, you know what, I want to have my own brokerage and I want to be responsible for 30 other people or 50 other people or 100 other people, because a lot of people, because when you're a realtor, you're basically an independent contractor, right? You're your own boss. You wake up in the morning whenever you want to. You go to work whenever you want to. And some people, if they don't have that motivation or their self drive or self discipline, they get lost in the transition, like we talk about, right?
Right.
Some people, they really make a lot of money. Matter of fact, matter of fact, I saw a post. I can't remember the girl's name, but I follow her on I follow her Instagram page, and I saw she sold a lot of homes, and I'm like, oh my god, I think she made like $1 million. I'm calculating. I'm like, that's a lot of money for being a realtor, right? Just a realtor. She's not even a broker.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, so what made you say, I want to take this responsibility and I want to be a broker?
So there was a couple of things that did that. I was at, that uptown for about 6 7 years. Again, it's been a total of 16, so I have a hard time breaking up all the years. But I was there and I said, I just wanted something different. I got tired of whenever I would schedule appointments to see these high end homes, people couldn't pronounce my last name, or they were like, who are you? What company are you with? Because we were a boutique luxury brokerage firm, but it was like 5 6 7 of us. It was a very small group. So that would happen all the time, where, who are your clients, where'd they come from? And that happens in the higher end. You can't see certain homes unless they know the firm you're with
Uh-huh.
and where did you come from, because of the individuals that own these properties.
Mhm.
So I was like, I want to just change this. I want to change where people can't pronounce my last name. I want to have a brokerage firm that, where we're all different colors and different sizes. And we are able to sell high end, but also do it in a way that is current. Because a lot of these brokerages, that, we're selling high-end homes. And let me say something to this real quick. We don't just sell high-end homes. We have two divisions. We have Nan and we have Nan Christie's. Nan is everything, under a million, and then Nan Christie's is everything over a million. And actually our average sales price is 400,000. And we love representing everyone in all price points, but this was kind of the thinking of why I finally decided to do this. No one was doing videos for their properties, and we were the first ones to start doing videos and just being different. My parents are business owners and they are entrepreneurs, and they definitely taught me that if you want to be successful, you need to stand out and you need to be different. So those were the two reasons why I was like, okay, you know what, let's do this. And we decided to open Ann.
And okay, walk me back. I mean, what? How did you do it? What? I mean, did you come up with a plan? Did you? I mean, was there?
So with Nan, before I opened Nan, I actually went into a partnership with a client of mine, and it didn't work. It lasted about 10 months and it just did not work. It was not what I envisioned. So I was just like, okay, how do I, can you, I'm sorry, they're calling
Oh,
me.
don't worry, I can hear you. We can hear
Okay,
you.
perfect. They were So I went off and I started this brokerage, and it lasted 10 months. It just didn't work out. It was not what I envisioned. So I scratched that, and you just have to start.
Yeah,
I was telling
quickly bounce back to do your own brand.
you have to stick to the plan and to the goals that you had. And I did that. So I came home and I told my husband, I was like, hey, I'm starting a brokerage. And he was like, okay, you just started a brokerage 10 months ago. And I was like, no, I'm starting it by myself with no money, and I'm going to do it from here. And I already have a realtor who is joining me. And he was like, who's this realtor? And I said, it's Renee Rodriguez, who's my best friend. So he said, okay, I don't think he counts, but let's do it. That's one thing about my husband that's very important, is that we're all super supportive. We're both very supportive of each other.
Mhm.
So I started Nan. I started my kitchen table, like the story tells it, with both my kids around me, with no money. But I started to have a plan, and write things down. Okay, I'm in the next 3 months, I'm going to do this. In the next 6 months, I'm going to do this. And then in a year, I'm going to do this. And it's all about planning. And I feel like that's something that, I don't see a lot lately, is that people do not have a plan. They say, oh, okay, I'm going to be a realtor. Well, who are your clients going to be? Or who are you going to learn from? Or where are you going to get your training from? You know? So having a plan has always, I mean, I can tell you what I'm going to do for the next year, what vacations I'm going to go on. That's how I'm able to be with my kids, run a business, and be a wife and a friend and a daughter and a sister at the same time.
Nancy, you started Man, and I mean you're still in your 20s at this time. I mean, and you have no money when you're starting it. You're putting a plan together on your kitchen table. Were you scared at any time?
Oh my God, totally. I was frightened. I didn't know how I was gonna, like your sign says, I didn't know how I was gonna make shit happen. I was terrified.
I, I mean,
But
I'm sure you're like, I'm gonna go to these places, and these people are not gonna be able to pronounce my last name. And I
yeah,
have this one guy who's my agent.
who's my best friend? So he has to be an agent at hand. I was terrified. I was terrified. I didn't know how I was gonna do it or if it was even gonna work, but I knew I was gonna try. And I was, not gonna give up. And that's something that, I always tell my kids, I tell my agents, if it was easy, everybody could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so you started this thing. Now you got an agent. What happened next?
After that, we just started going. I mean, the first year we sold $4 million, which is not a lot.
How many agents were there? Just you and him? You and
Yes. So basically, I did 4 million and he was just hanging out. And, after that year, we decided to grow who we had. And little by little, we started adding agents.
And
So
so today where Nan stands at, how many agents do you have?
we have 95.
95 agents. Oh, that's
And
awesome.
that, so we have 50 active agents, and then we have 15 assistants, because remember, assistants have to be
Right.
licensed. And then a
Yeah.
lot of the individuals in our support team are have to be licensed as well to do a lot of the things that they do.
So Nancy, Nan has been around today for what, 10 years? I'm sorry,
6.
6 years. So Nan has been around for 6 years now. So you start Nan 6 years later. I mean, and you have made a good splash around town. I mean, but what made you tick is what I want, and what makes you tick when you wake up in the morning. What is it that you're saying? Hey, this is what I want to do. I want to conquer the world. I mean, what is it? What does Nancy? What makes Nancy tick?
I think it's part of, someone asked me recently, like, how much money do you want to make, or how much, uh, what do you want? It's not about money. With me, it's about accomplishment. It's about having a name in Houston that people recognize, and setting an example for others. Whenever I got into the higher ends, like I told you earlier, people could not pronounce my name. And then once people started to know my name, we didn't have social media a few years ago. So they couldn't look me up and see what I looked like. All they knew that was my name was Nancy Almodovar. I would show up to appointments, and these agents, that were super top, very, important agents would say, "Oh, hi, are you the assistant of Nancy?" And I don't know if it was my age. I don't know if I wasn't driving the right car. I don't know why my computer keeps acting out, but it was, it would hurt. It would bother me. And to me, it was just like, I'm going to change that. And now, again, we speak, I don't know if I mentioned this, we speak 14 different languages at NAN. We're all different. We're all super diverse. We're huge on, representing Houston, because Houston is diverse. I mean, we're a melting pot.
Right.
So to me, it's more about changing the real estate game. That was important to me,
And
not about the
that's
amount of
basically,
money.
that's one of your motivation, and that's what makes you kind of tick. You
For
want to
sure.
change the real estate game.
Right. And even when I tell the story about how I started NAN, right away people say, "Oh, okay, so this is your husband's company." And it's both of our companies. Why does it have to be his? It's both of us. And it's super important to be able to show, not only other Hispanic women, but just diverse individuals, that you can do it too, that you don't have to look a certain way to make it in a certain industry. You just have to try hard enough. And that was part of a lot of the accomplishments that we got. We have Christie's, which before Martha Turner had, which was like the icon of Houston luxury real estate. And for us to be able to get that, I mean, that was huge. And I fought for that for 2 years.
Tell me a little bit. What is Christie's? If I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound naive, but I'm sure a lot of people
No,
don't know either.
I didn't know what Christie's was until I realized I wanted to get it. So, Christie's is basically a network of very, it's a network of very high end real estate companies that refer to one another.
Uh-huh.
And Christie's is the, auction house, art auction house. And they
Okay.
started a real estate division. And you're able to market your properties there. We have such amazing referrals from them. And so I knew if I wanted to really stand out in, a certain area, a certain price point, a certain neighborhood, that I needed some backing, because okay, I was Nancy, I was Nan, that's great, but who backs you? So when we were able to get Christie's, you have to be selected to be a part of their network, and I fought really hard.
Uh-huh.
We went through the process for 2 years and finally got it. And it was huge for us to get it because the only person that had this was, another company that was huge and that, had been around for years and it was generational. And here comes Nancy Almodovar, who, is new to the game, who is not generational, and we were able to get it. And then
So is it like the Christie's is only for one brokerage per geographical area,
yes,
or
yes. So we represent the Houston, Woodland, Sugarland. We represent all of that area.
also you're exclusive Christie's? You have the exclusive Christie right, the names right for. Oh, that's big, Nancy. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
huge.
We fought so hard for it. I mean, that's a whole nother show just to tell you how we got that. But it's
Well, tell us a little bit if you don't mind.
it was just very hard because when I called them and I said, "Hey, I want to be part of the Christie's network," they were like, "Who are you?" I said my name and they said, "Okay, thank you. Have a nice day." And then I called again and I think I called and bothered them so much that finally they said, "Listen, if you sell this much, then call us. But until you do this, don't call us anymore."
Uh-huh.
And so 6 months later, I came back and I was like, "Hey, listen, I sold this much, so can I apply somewhere now?" And
Uh-huh.
I guess they thought I wasn't going to do it, and then that's how the process started.
Oh,
Somebody flew down here, they interviewed us. I mean, it was a big ordeal, but it was not easy. And people see, the Instagram, the Facebook now. Oh my God, look, Nancy at a Christie's event. That's so awesome. But they don't realize the hard work that went into getting that.
Nancy, I gotta ask you. You know, when you're a business person, right? You have to take all kind of risks, right? And yes, you open up a brokerage and you got a bunch of agents, but a lot of people don't understand you have to build that infrastructure, the the computer systems, the logistics, the office that you have, the facilities, the conference rooms for them, and that's all a risk, right?
For
Because
sure.
especially in the beginning, I mean, yes, I get it that you have established yourself now and you're selling a whole bunch of real estate, but in the beginning when you were doing all these investments, must have been, I mean, it must have been terrifying. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, I don't know. You were like, I'm putting everything I'm making into this. What did
Yeah.
you think at that time?
I mean, I was scared. I think it's natural to be scared. A lot of people say, "But were you ever scared?" I was scared the whole time. I mean, there was nights when I wouldn't sleep. Again, back to what you really don't see. I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't know, "Oh my God, how am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay rent next month?" At first I was the receptionist, I was the accounting representative, I was marketing. But as you start to grow, you're scared because you don't know if, okay, my dream, I have to make sure that, we're successful and that this all works out. But it's a lot of risk and you have to plan. One thing that I always do is I always have plan A, B, C, and D. So if my agents weren't making money, I know how to sell. I was going to be selling and I was going to be carrying everyone. But like you said, you don't see a paycheck, right? Because it's all going into your business. And a lot of individuals that want to start a business don't realize that you're probably not going to make money for 2 years.
How long did it take for you to see some money? I mean,
Two,
what did you do? I mean, 2 years. So
yes.
for 2 years, everything that happened, you just kept putting it in.
Yep.
Nancy, a lot of people might see you today and they might see the glitz and glamour, right? But I
Right.
want them to know the real struggle. You answering the phone, you've been the receptionist, you're trying to be the accountant or if you don't mind, tell us a little bit.
Oh, of course. I used to change my voice. I'd be like, "Hi, thank you for calling Ann and Company Properties. Who would you like to speak to?" And they'd be like, "Is Nancy there?" I'd be like, "Yes, please hold." Put the phone and be like, "Hey, this is Nancy." I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
So, uh, the office you're in, how long have you been in there today?
So we have been in this office since probably 6 months after we started in business, and it's in the Galleria area. This office, like everything else that we do, is very different. There's no drywall, it's all glass, it's very open because we have an open door policy. And we are now opening our second office in the Heights. It is 725 Yale. I hope
Right.
that's right. My team doesn't kill me for saying it wrong. And it is in Heights Mercantile.
So,
Amazing location.
but if you were in the Galleria in the building, I can see the windows in the back and looks pretty nice, right?
Yeah, there
How scared were you to pay for? I mean, that's a big commitment to get an
it
office
is.
building, huh?
It is. It's a huge commitment.
I mean, what did you? I mean, did you have money saved up? Did you know
I
that you
had
were going to be able
nothing.
to pay the rent?
So one thing that I did have was I was selling. So remember, I was always selling.
Right.
So if I had no agents, it was always my income. So that's how I was able to fund this. I mean, from day one that I started working my butt off, and everything I made was to this office. So then once we had this office open, then I was able to get, agents to join me to help pay for this office.
So that was one of the reasons why you wanted the office so people can attract. So you have a
That's right.
legitimate that. Hey, listen, I'm going to start it. And I'm going to be a legitimate brokerage, and you come over here to this office, and that was the goal. Uh, okay, so let's go back over here, and so 6 years ago you started. Today, 6 years later, in 2020, do you mind me asking, uh, what are y'all selling? How much y'all selling?
No, of course not. Last year we did about 400 million in sales.
That's
This
awesome.
this year our goal is to do 500, and the ultimate goal is to hit a billion.
That's amazing, right? And that's what I told you. I saw one of your agents. She had listed all this. I'm like, she made $1 million.
I wonder who it was. Was it Natalie Garza or
That's
Laura
it. Natalie Garza.
Natalie?
Natalie Garza. That was it.
But what people don't see, she works her butt off, and she has three assistants, and she goes on, I think, two vacations a year. But every other day she's working. She works 7 days a week, 24/7. She has two cell phones, and
But
people don't see that.
and I'm it's just a curse like I have. Like I mean I think I got it from my grandfather, right? Like I just add stuff real quick. I'm like, oh my God, she made $1 million. And
But
she
she didn't, because you have to remember there's advertising,
well that
there's marketing.
gross. You're right. You're right. She still gotta pay all the other stuff. But I'm like, but it's good. I mean, you can't make that kind of money if you're not hustling.
No,
Okay, as a realtor. I
it's
mean,
never
even if
going to
she
happen if you're not hustling.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and but people like, there might be somebody who might see that and they say, I want to be just like Natalie Garza. She might inspire somebody.
For
Um,
sure.
I mean,
She's
so yeah,
hiring an assistant. So if anybody wants to be her assistant, reach out to her.
reach out to her. That's awesome. I mean, and honestly, like if I was somebody who was looking for a job, I would really want to work for somebody like that. I want to know how the heck did she sell that many houses, or got all that stuff. So yes, amazing. Kudos to her, and congratulations to you for having a person like that on your team. So
Thanks.
so Nancy, I want to go back to, so everybody wants to be a realtor. They see stuff like that, like, oh my God, I want to be able to make that money. And I know you have a vetting process. But what kind of process do you have in supporting these agents, or teaching them, or continuing to get them to develop? What do you do? Do you do anything for them?
Oh my God, yes. So that's where a full service brokerage kicks in. We're a full service brokerage. And what that means is we offer a ton of support to our agents. We have systems in place. We have a director of sales. We have a vice president of operations. We have a marketing director. We have a director of digital marketing. We have a social media. I mean, I could go on and go on and go on. There's
Wow.
so many people, but they don't realize that that's the support you need to be, at the top. When you look at the top agents in Houston, they're all with full service brokerages. And it's for a reason that it's one person can't do it. You need a team.
You need a team. And I mean, even if you're working for somebody, and I want to say this, and I hope it's okay for me to say it, because sometimes people get lost in this. They work for a brokerage company where there's no support, right? And because they're like, oh well, I got to pay flat fee. I don't have to, split my commission with my brokerage or something like my broker or something like that. But they don't understand, all this thing you said. I mean, uh, VP of operations, marketing person, the sales director. I mean, there's all the support doesn't come with it, and all that costs money. So I'm
Right.
definitely got to be done. Um, also earlier before we started the interview, you said that you don't like the 80-20 rule. You don't want to do something with 20 agents. You want to do something with 100 agents, and it's important for you to develop all your agents so they all rise to the top. You believe in the bringing the average up, so everybody can pushing the down, the low performers to the top, and
Right.
rising the cream to the top. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we always say that people that want to join our team, we don't necessarily need them to be salespeople, but they just have to want to work and learn and have a good attitude. And those are some of the things that we definitely look for here. And if you have those three things, I can teach you to sell, and a lot of our top producers can teach you to sell. But we don't need you to come in here and, oh, I can sell and I have a poor attitude or I know everything, because that's only going to affect you. None of us know everything. I don't know everything, but I can tell you that I was number one luxury realtor in Houston, and that if I have that under my belt, then I probably know a thing or two.
Nancy,
I need
I,
to tell you that story too.
tell me.
I was named, so one of my goals was that I had to hit the same woman in Houston has one luxury realtor for the past 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And one of my goals was that I had to be that, because if I wanted to be respected among these group of people, that I had to be that number one luxury agent. So that one year, I think I've worked like I've never worked before. And the day came and I beat her. My average was, I think, 3 million and hers was 2. And I beat her. And the day of the awards ceremony, when they announced it, nobody clapped for me because they were in shock. My team's looking at me. Nobody clapped for me, just my husband. We had a
Really?
table, we sat at the front, and I remember the editor, I think it was the editor for the HBJ, she was said, in the number one luxury, here's the list for our luxury agents of 2016. And she said my name and nobody clapped because nobody could believe it. Like the room was silent, like this.
Wow.
And my husband got up and started clapping. He was the only person clapping. And the lady, she had just announced it. She said, "That's correct, guys. Please go ahead and put your hands together and clap for Nancy Almodovar." It was, but to me, that just gives you an idea of, the things that we've been changing in real estate. And I wanted to do those things so somebody else could come in or see that and feel like, you know what, I can do that too.
So that was just your second year in business,
Right.
uh, and you won the that's kudos. I'm happy. I'm proud to say right now that I'm interviewing you, and I'm I love people who make it happen, right? I mean, from humble beginnings. I mean, it makes me happy. I'm getting goosebumps talking to you right now. You can't see me over here, but that's it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know a lot. I don't know if you know a lot about me, but I started my business since I was 21, and which is another story. But I mean, when people say you cannot do it, I tell everybody, I mean, only in America you can do anything you want to do, man.
That's right.
This
That's
is
right.
the land of opportunity. You put your mind to it, and you make sure you show up to work every morning. You can make it happen. I mean, you said that you have not never worked like you did that 2016, and you made it happen. I mean, that's a testimony right there. So Nancy, I know as you grew, you also wanted to, you found a fiscal responsibility to give out to the community, and you launched Nan Care Toy Drive. Tell me a
Right.
little bit about that.
So we launched that to make, we do that every year. And actually my sister, she leads that. And we basically the first year, I thought, okay, we're going to get toys and we're going to get people to donate toys and we're going to pick elementary schools and take them. Nobody donated toys. So my husband and I bought 1,000 toys for the whole school because nobody donated. Now it's a little more organized. And every year we pick a school or two and we make sure that every child in the school has a toy to open. And again, remember the story how I said that, I have humble beginnings. I remember as a child, one Christmas, my sister and I not having a toy to open. And I told my husband and myself that whenever we were able to get to a point in our lives to be able to make sure that kids have toys to open, that I was going to change that. And that's where, that idea came from. And I go because I want to see them open toys and I want to see their faces and I want to set an example for them that, to give back. So whenever they're older, they're able to do that. And then also for my team and my kids, and it's just something that we love to do.
So how do y'all? So today, I mean, you have all these agents. I mean, do you do like a toy drive, or do you
We
just
do a
get
toy drive
agents to
every
do
year.
it? Or? Okay.
And then every year we have different people, kids don't want to get a toy from me. So we'll partner with an athlete. We've had Jose Altuve, we've had Dwight Howard, we had someone from Dynamo partner with us. And then we've also had, I can't think of who else at the moment, but we've had some important people donate. And the kids get excited.
Absolutely, kids do get excited. I've done some elementary school stuff, and kids do get excited. They love it. They love the stuff. So Nancy, what is the goal? I mean, what is it something that you say, you know what, I'm missing this, and I need to do this in the next 3 to 5 years? What is it? Since I know you probably know because you said you write plans down.
Yeah, so definitely getting our Heights office rocking and rolling. We'll be moved in hopefully by Thanksgiving, my husband promised. And, hitting our 1 billion mark. That's what's the next. I said I wanted to do that before I turned 40, so wish me luck.
Well, now I have to ask you, when are you turning 40?
2 years.
2 years. So you want to get this done in 2 years?
Right.
Man, that is gonna be that's a good goal. I like that goal. That's a good goal. You said you went to you went to U of H, but on your bio it said you did some Goldman Sachs 10,000. What is that, if you don't mind me asking?
It's actually through Houston Community College,
Uh-huh.
and it taught me so much. It's a program that you apply for, and it is funded by, I don't know the exact term, so I don't want to misspeak, but it's through the city of Houston, and they partner with Houston Community College, and they basically teach you how to run a business. They teach you how to look at, a profit and loss statement. What's a balance sheet? What's
Oh,
HR?
cool.
What's
So it's basically like a crash course in
it is?
learn. Yeah. Okay. How long is it for?
It's 6 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks, and it's extremely intense. You're
Okay.
not allowed to use your cell phone, which was very hard for me. And I got in trouble all the time, but I learned so much in that class.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I wish I would have learned. I wish I would have known that. I would have wanted to take in a class like that. I just had to
Hey,
learn it on.
you can, I'll nominate you.
I had to learn it on the whim. Uh, Nancy, I saw that you had you were Women Who published in Women Who Mean Business in 2017. You know, named the national winner of the 2018 Enterprising Women of the Year award in Miami. You were in the Houston Business Journal in 2017. You won that 2016 top luxury real estate. You know, a, a, a lot of it before you hit 40. I mean, growing up, like you said, 1 year you didn't even have a toy to open, you and your sister. How does that make you feel?
Proud. Makes me feel proud. 'Cause, 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 ' I think it's important to be able to pat yourself on the back and say, that's awesome, but remind yourself that I want to be an example for others. That's
Is it a dream? Am I living a dream?
you can say that for sure.
Do you think about the Biggie Small song? It was all a dream.
I didn't, but I do now.
You do now. Now every time you're probably gonna be on the radio or you'll probably listen to it. It was all a dream. You're like, I remember that
Yeah,
song.
I'm gonna have to play that song now for sure.
You're gonna play that song with Biggie Small right when I hang up, right when I'm finished with
Yeah,
you.
I'm gonna play it right now.
Okay, so Nancy, we're getting towards the end of our conversation. I can listen. I'm a talkative person. I can talk for hours, right? But I know your time is important. I want to value your time. Before we end the interview, I always ask my guest, you know, hey, listen, life is a learning experience. Business is a learning experience. Um, I want to ask you something about that I should ask. That I mean, a lot of time when you're in business yourself, you go through bumps, bruises, failures, something. What is one of the failures that you think you know what? Looking back, you're like, why did I do that? I wish I would have never done that. Is there failure that you had, or something that you really felt hard on your face, and like, I wish I would have done that. I should have known better. Is there something you would want to share?
I think everything that I've done has taught me something. So there's nothing where I'm like, damn it, I wish I wouldn't have done that, because I feel like everything that has happened in my life has gotten me to where I am today. One thing that I have learned is, that I'm very hard on my team, on myself about, is always putting yourself in other people's shoes. For example, as humans, it's very easy to blame others when
Yeah,
something's going wrong. It's easy to do this, right? If you go to Starbucks, they give you your drink, and if it's not hot enough, to complain to the person on why it's not hot enough. But did you ever think that that person may be having a bad day, or lost a loved one, or got hit, got into a car accident? So I always try to remind people to put yourself in other people's shoes and just, don't complain. Don't complain. And that's one thing that I feel like I've learned to do, is to not to complain, because complaining does nothing and blaming others does nothing. You need to look at yourself. How could I have fixed that? How could I have changed that? And what could I do different?
that's a very good one. I like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna write that. Make a
I
note of
see
that.
you writing me if you use that quote, you better quote me.
Well, I had a video. I made a video about that on Instagram. Posted that already, and
Oh,
honestly, I said that about the Starbucks thing, and
did
my
you
thing went,
really?
yes, I'll share with you. I said my thing when like we have become a nation of complainers. I'm like, you go to Starbucks and they don't put the almond milk or the right quantity of almond milk in your coffee, and all of a sudden you just upset. It's not at the right temperature because we become a nation of complainers. So yes,
Hey,
it
great
resonates
minds
with me.
think alike. I'm gonna go look at that.
All right, I'll do that. It kind of resonated with me a little bit. Nancy, before we go, we always talk about this. Let's say today is the last day. You've lived to be 100 years old, and you did a lot of podcasts. You published in a lot of magazines. You accomplished a lot. You end up selling $5 billion worth of real estate in a year. And but today is the day that you got to go join your creator, right? Last day, everything, and all this, the thing that you built, and all the podcasts, all the YouTube, all the Instagram, all the books you wrote, they're all erased. But they give you a pen and a paper, and they say, Nancy, write three things on this. This can be three truths, key to greatness. You want to leave it for your future generation, your grandkids, and the future world. What will those three things be? And these three things can be how to live life, how to be great, what to do, the hustle, the grit, everything. Three things that you will say, what will it be? You're right.
Uh, be present in the moment. It's, because of these guys, it's very easy. I mean, you can see all of my highlights. It's very easy to get distracted. So be present in what you're doing, whether it's working with your kids, with your spouse. So be present, appreciate. Appreciate is so important. And, back to not complaining, just don't complain because complaining gives you nothing.
That's awesome. I love it. Be present, appreciate, and don't
Don't
complain.
complain about that Starbucks.
Don't complain about the Starbucks. That's awesome, Nancy. I want to thank you again for making the time, and hopefully, in about a year or so, I can get you back in, and definitely, if not in a year, at least 2 years when you hit that Billy. You know.
For sure. I'd love it. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. This is a
No,
lot of fun. I'm going to
thank you
have to
so much.
copy your Make Shit Happen tagline. I really like that.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nancy. I hope I'll meet you soon in person, and we'll share some of the stuff. Love to shake your hand and say hello. And
Like,
we live in the same city. And by the way, do you know I know Renee pretty well. I
oh
love
my
the
God,
family. I'm sorry.
what a small world.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you see him, tell him I told you. And I know Preston too. There's a lot of your videos and everything. So
Yeah, yeah. Preston's been with me since day one, and Renee too. So
yeah,
actually saw him this weekend. He helped us pass out food. We're passing out food, with the crazy weather that we had last week. So
definitely. Matter of fact, I
small
saw
world.
I saw a post of you that y'all had like 300 tacos or something like that. So, good for you. Thanks for doing that.
We
Thanks
fed
for doing that.
1,400 individuals.
Wow, that's good. That's awesome. That it's always good to give back. I mean, because life is all about giving. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. Thank you. I know you're a busy lady. Thank you for making the time, and I'll be in touch.
All right, thanks. Bye.